Welcome back. All right, so I'm going to start things off with saying this is not exactly the roster that I had put together as I was getting ready to do this. Somebody asked about Adam Lowry for Team Canada. Now, Lowry would have been like a late cut off that Team Canada I put together there. But also, I had him for Team USA because he's born in the US. But yes, Lowry, Canadian citizen, has played for Team Canada internationally. Would have made it onto this team. Would not have made it onto Team Canada. Would have between him and Jordan Staal, and I would go with Jordan Staal, just Selke finalist and all that, and just how good defensively Staal can be. So this is my American team two. Same rules. I can't pick anybody who was already picked. And one thing I've seen is the center depth in Canada is crazy. John Tavares did not make my second team. I was looking, I was like, well, I don't see him as a top two center here, and the bottom two centers, I had other ideas. So I could probably make a third Canadian team, to be honest. I don't intend to. I may make a team that if there was a Russian team, this is how it would look. I may also make a team for if you combine Czechia and Slovakia and you put a team together of those two countries, and those two countries used to be one country. See what that would look like, and then a rest of the world team, a team where you'd have players from Switzerland, Germany, etc., which they tried in the last World Cup, and it didn't really hit. Like between Team North America, which was the young players, and Team Europe, it just it didn't have that same gravity to it. When you're go Team Europe, go Team North America, it didn't have that same thing. So I understand why the NHL didn't do that again. But there are a lot of talented players who are not going to be in this Four Nations tournament. And keep this in mind. If you root for a team and your player got snubbed, they don't have to worry about getting injured at this tournament either. That's the one thing that will happen. There will definitely be some injuries here. So, that preamble aside, let's get into the roster. And with the American roster, feels a little more fluid maybe than the Canadian one. So top six, I'm going with Cole Caulfield of Montreal. 25 games, 16 goals, 7 assists, 23 points. So my teams of two here, Team Canada has Nick Suzuki, and Team USA has Cole Caulfield. So they'd be against each other. Kyle Palmieri of the Islanders, 26 games, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points. He is a center, and I wanted to label the centers here. Clayton Keller, 25 games, 7 goals, 15 assists, 22 points for Utah. Tage Thompson, listed as a center. He can play on the wing as well, of course. 20 games, 13 goals, 7 assists, 20 points. Jason Robertson, I'm putting him in the top six, even though his production has not been fantastic this year, just based on what Robertson can do, and I don't think the stats tell the whole story. 25 games, 5 goals, 10 assists, 15 points. And Brock Besser of the Vancouver Canucks, 17 games, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. So then you get into the bottom six, and you'll see why I'm saying this is fluid. Because Alex Tuch in a bottom six role, he can play that, but he can also produce 25 games, 8 goals, 15 assists, 23 points. Tuch has played third line minutes before in the NHL. Connor Garland can play in that third line spot. He can also play top six. 24 games, 8 goals, 14 assists, 22 points. And Garland was one that I debated about whether to put him in top six or bottom six. Alex Laferriere for the LA Kings, 26 games, 11 goals, 9 assists, 20 points. Nick Schmaltz, who is a center, 25 games, 3 goals, 17 assists, 20 points. So Schmaltz, you might be able to put in the top six, maybe drop Palmieri into the bottom six. Fluid situation, just then you have Schmaltz and Keller together. Blake Coleman, 25 games, 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points with Calgary. He can play center as well. And Coleman, fantastic player, really. And Swiss Army knife, so fits in wherever you're going to put him. And then Josh Norris for Ottawa, 24 games, 9 goals, 16 assists. 9 goals, 6 assists. I'm trying to give him an extra 10 assists. Look at that. 9 goals, 6 assists for 15 points. So your 13th forward here is Logan Cooley. So for Utah, 25 games, 6 goals, 14 assists, 20 points. So technically, you could have Keller, Schmaltz, and Cooley kind of playing together on a line if you wanted to try that out. Cooley can play center too. So it is an interesting group up front, and it would be very difficult to shut down. Maybe not as gritty of a bottom six as what I put together with Team Canada, but still some guys here that can irritate you. And Garland has some familiarity with Keller, having played for the Coyotes before playing for the Canucks. And then you get to the blue line. John Carlson of the Washington Capitals, 25 games, 3 goals, 16 assists, 19 points. Shane Gostisbehere, 25 games, 5 goals, 15 assists, 20 points. Lane Hutson, I think, belongs here. 25 games and 16 assists. And then this is where you can make the argument against Jake Sanderson, absolutely. And then you can make the argument for Nick Jensen. Nick Jensen also for Ottawa. So, Sanderson, 24 games, 1 goal, 13 assists, 14 points, but he is a minus 15. He's been struggling defensively. And so you could make an argument for Nick Jensen based on the defensive aspect of his game, and you could boot Jake Sanderson off if you'd like. Mikey Anderson, 26 games, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. Anderson and Sanderson together. Anderson trying to cover for Sanderson? Maybe. And Neil Pionk, 26 games, 4 goals, 18 assists, 22 points. Ridiculous amount of offense from American Blue Lines. So you've got team 1, the one they named yesterday, team 2, the team I'm naming here today. A lot of offense on this blue line. Questionable defense from a couple, but not really from John Carlson. He's a pretty good all-around defenseman. And again, I put Anderson on the team as a defensive defenseman. And your 7th defenseman, I got Alex Vlasic. 26 games, 1 goal, 10 assists, 11 points. Vlasic is going to be a star in the NHL once everybody's got a chance to see him. Once he's getting that right amount of ice time, and once Chicago's a good team, I think Vlasic's numbers are going to go through the roof. Plus, he's huge. I think he's like 7'8". So I think that with Vlasic there, you might be able to move guys around. If you're not as comfortable with Lane Hutson, maybe you feel like you might make defensive mistakes. Maybe you put Vlasic out there. Again, Vlasic is a big guy who can also play really, really well. I'm not just going to put somebody there just for their size. They have to be a good player as well. Then you get to the goaltending, and the American goaltending there's a lot of depth here. Anthony Stolarz, 8-4-2 with a .924 save percentage so far. Joey Daccord. So I've seen people mentioning Daccord should have made it onto Team Canada. Daccord has an American passport, not a Canadian passport. So technically he could play for Team USA. 11-6-1, .912 save percentage for Daccord. And Dustin Wolf of the Calgary Flames, 8-4-1, .918 save percentage. Pretty strong numbers. So, Team USA the second time around, you can put together a pretty good team. It is interesting to me how many strong centers you have on the Canadian team. I don't think the U.S. is as strong down the middle, but on the blue line and in net, the U.S. is pretty much unrivaled in hockey right now. The one thing that I thought was interesting, and somebody pointed this out with Team Canada's picks for their main team, only one player from Quebec or Quebec. And so it's kind of led me down this path of, so we talk a lot about how goaltending in Canada's fallen off. Is it a matter of there aren't as many good players coming out of Quebec as anything else, since a lot of the great goaltenders in the NHL have been from the province of Quebec? So that's something that's kind of percolating in the background, and there you go. So the Four Nations tournament has definitely given me a lot of ideas for things like this and other things as well down the road. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Obviously, this is just a for fun thing. And let me know who you would put on Team USA or Team Canada and that kind of thing. And as I said, I'll be doing other teams as well in upcoming days. This is it for today with teams I'm talking about, though. It is a 9-game tonight in the NHL. 9-game night tonight in the NHL, so got to set all that up. But hey, thank you guys so much for all your support. Hit like and subscribe in the event you haven't done so already. And thank you guys so much for watching. Without you guys out there watching, it wouldn't be much point for me to be making these videos. I still would be. Honestly, I still would be making YouTube videos about hockey. It wouldn't necessarily have that setup in the background. And it might just be on note cards rather than on a whiteboard, because that's where things were before I was using whiteboards. But thanks again for your support. I'll talk to you guys soon enough.